As someone who has over 230 podcast episodes just on this show, that does not include any of the shows that I have had previously or currently have, I am kind of sick of social media. I'm sick of promoting on it, and I'm really taking time to consider, is social media still worth my time? Welcome to Podcasting Unlocked, the show for purpose-driven podcasters. I'm Alicia Galati, founder of Galati Media, and I'm here to share actionable strategies to help you amplify your message and grow your audience. Hey, and welcome back. I am so excited about this episode because this is something that I have been thinking about and ruminating on for quite some time now. There has been a shift in my feelings and my thoughts around social media in the last few years. And when I was talking with someone on the podcast, you'll hear their episode come out. I was talking to them about this idea of leaving social media and how they did it, what is working for them, what's not. And then afterwards, after we finished recording, I was like, tell me more. I want to know all about it. I want to know why you're feeling this way. I want to know how you're adjusting and shifting things and where you're focusing. And as we started talking, it made me really realize that social media is not serving me, especially when it comes to promoting my podcast. So here's what I'm going to be doing over the next 3 months. I am quitting social media promotion for this podcast. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm going to be not posting anything at all. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I haven't really decided that yet. But when it comes to the purpose of promoting and sharing about this podcast, the best way to know what the latest episode is to follow, subscribe, or subscribe to my email list, which I'm going to be more active on in Q4. Beyond the fact that I just do not like social media right now and I do not enjoy promoting my podcast on there, there are two other core reasons why I'm doing this experiment. So, like I said, the first one is I've lost enjoyment and I want to be able to put my effort and time into things that are actually lighting me up in my life. Number two, zero ROI. Clients are not converting from my social media effort, and I'm actually not seeing an increase in people going from finding me on social media to then listening to the podcast. So why am I spending time and effort doing something that is not getting me an ROI, especially as someone who has a small team? I think many of us are at a point where we're struggling in business and we're struggling getting new clients, and the state of the world just feels like everything is kind of on fire. And so I understand it, but promoting my podcast just does not feel good. I don't feel like I'm getting the ROI that I want. And the last client that I got from a direct social media post was in 2021. So I don't really see the point in continuing down the path of putting in my time and effort on something that's not giving me anything really in return and is giving me a lack of enjoyment. The third one is that I want to spend my time on things that are giving me high fulfillment, things that are really lighting me up, making me excited. And going into Q4, social media just doesn't do that anymore. And if I'm being honest with you and with myself, it wasn't bringing me joy well before this. Like, I would say probably the last 2 years have felt like a slog. Like, it's something that I'm checking the box to do. It's something I have to do because I have a podcast and I have to promote it somewhere. Why? Why do I have to feel that way? So I'm going to stop doing that. Now, I do want to note that I will still be providing my guests with assets that they can share and use if they want. I will still be using the short video promos to go on YouTube and push the content over there. And there are little things that I'm tweaking and kind of doubling down on, but social media platforms, like right now, I'm posting on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. I'm not going to be doing those three in Q4. Here are some things that I'm actually going to be shifting to doing. So instead of just dropping it and saying, well, if it works, it works, I'm going to be shifting my focus to things that light me up, have an ROI of some sort, and don't feel like they are a chore to do. So here are three things that I'm going to be replacing the social media posting with. And that is speaking and workshops. So focusing on pitching to speak at virtual conferences. I've talked very openly on the show about having social anxiety. So virtual conferences that I can speak at and teach at that are specialized to podcasters or business owners. So I'm going to be looking at ones that I can pitch in Q4 that probably will be happening in Q1 of next year. On the workshops, and I'll mention this again at the end, we're going to be hosting 3 workshops in Q4. So we'll have one in October, one in November, and one in December. If you want to know more about that, you can go to galatimedia.com/workshop. So one workshop, not plural. galatimedia.com/workshop. You'll also find the link in the show notes for that, as well as the YouTube description. And so I'm going to be doing workshops around that, and I'll tell you what those are coming up at the end of this episode. So speaking in workshops is the first thing. The second thing I'm going to be doing and focusing on is podcast guesting. The number one way to grow my show is going to be through guesting on other people's podcasts and then moving those people over to my show. So by offering value in these podcast interviews and being able to really give so much that these listeners go to this episode, listen to me, and then want to listen to my show as well. And of course, there's tons of content for them to check out here. So that is something that I'm going to be focusing on, and it does work. I have seen it happen time and time again. When I focus on podcast guesting and when those episodes come out, my listenership grows. The third thing that I'm going to be focusing on is my own channels, my email list, my website. How can I optimize those places to drive results? All of these things, especially speaking and being in podcast conversations and being able to do workshops for other communities, like I leave those lit up. I leave those so stinking excited about the topic, so excited about podcasting and the direction that we're going, and just being able to encourage other people to start a podcast or to grow their show. All of that stuff just lights me up. You can hear it in my voice as I'm talking about it. And so I want to do more of that. Now, as someone who has a background in manufacturing supply chain, and I also have a degree in marketing, results and metrics are important. These are things that are just going to have to drive the decisions. I cannot always base my decisions on how I feel. So that is why this is an experiment. It is a test to see how it works. And so here are some KPIs that I am personally going to be looking at as I change and shift these things for my podcast. The first is lead generation. I'm going to be tracking the direct number of discovery calls or new leads that are generated from the channels that I talked about. So the guesting, the workshops, all of that stuff. The next, I'm going to be looking at how much time is it taking my team to do these things, because I know how much time it would take them to post on social media in a week on a weekly basis, or how much time I'm spending on these different tasks. And so is it a time save? Is it not a time save, but we're getting better results? What does that kind of look like? Because that ROI is going to be important. I haven't decided how I want to do this just yet on the time efficiency side, because it's going to take more time from my plate to pitch myself to be on these podcasts, to pitch myself to be in these communities. And so I haven't decided what tasks I'm going to give my team just yet. I'm still sleeping on that. I have about a day or two to figure it out. I'm thinking about that, but also thinking about, is there a client that I manage that I can give to my team so that I have more support to be able to do these other things? So I'm going to be looking at that as well. I'm also going to be monitoring our website traffic. What does that direct traffic look like? Where are people hanging out on the website? And are we getting more leads from the website and from the freebies that I'm offering? And then, of course, tracking those workshops that I'm in, what those conversion rates are. Are we seeing an increase in podcast listenership as those new episodes come out? All of those different things. So engagement and conversions on that end. On that note, I want to invite you to our Q4 workshops. Now, you will have to sign up for each of these individually because some might be for you and others might not. These are all free workshops. I want to emphasize that. It's important that the content that we're creating is accessible no matter what your price point is, that if you are unable to work with me one-on-one, then you still have the ability to get some support along the way. So we will have our October workshop, which is our free podcast marketing workshop. It'll be around how to market your podcast, whether that is social media or other places. We'll talk about if you should be spending money on ads and what that might look like for you. And that's going to be on October 17th, which is a Friday. The next workshop is in November. It is also November 17th. All of these are on the 17th. That one is going to be on a Monday. And that one is the podcast workflow workshop. And it is all about saving you time and energy and focusing on what is actually working for your podcast to ensure that you are focusing on the things that are going to drive results and are going to get your podcast out there. Because if you get to a point where there are things in your podcast workflow that feel like a chore, you're less likely to continue podcasting. And I don't want that to be the thing that stops you from getting your voice out there and being heard. So that will be on a Monday. And then we have our December workshop, which is the 2026 podcast goal setting workshop. We're going to be setting some goals for the first half of 2026. And that is going to be on Wednesday, December 17th. It'll be the 17th of every single month. And again, you can go to galatimedia.com/workshop and you will be able to sign up for any of these free workshops that we have available to you. If you are listening to this after any of those days, there are replays available for you. So please don't feel like, oh, I missed it, I can't do it. No, we've got you. It's okay. We'll make sure that we have those available for the replay. All right. I really want to encourage you to take a moment and after listening to this episode, really consider, is there something that you're doing for your podcast, in your business, or even in your life that no longer feels good, that makes you feel like, oh, I have to do this thing? And is it something that you actually have to do? Or is it something that you can drop and do something else instead? Your action is to sign up for one of these workshops. I would love to know what you think about my Q4 experiment. And so you can sign up for the workshops. It'll put you on my email list and we can talk back and forth over there. All right. Until next time, happy podcasting.